commission-only sales agents will not build you a brand new company from the ground up. You got to put in some legwork first, right? You got to put in some legwork first, whether you are a business who runs entirely offline, if you're in the manufacturing or the retail space, as well as if you're a business that runs entirely online, you're in the digital marketing space. In either scenario, relying upon your sales professional who's commission only to do all of the heavy lifting for you will ultimately lead to just a really short-term relationship. And everybody wants to win, everybody wants to do well, and it's really important that you think about the things and items that a sales professional will need to be successful. Okay, and there's fundamentally two components of it. So the first component, and we'll go on to give you a demonstration about some of the things that we think about at Pearl Lemon, is of course building your brand. And that can start as simple as what happens when a company Googles you. What is it that comes up, right? So as you can see here, we've got ultimately our built out brand that you can see that covers page one of Google. And that's something that you need to consider when you're thinking ultimately about building a brand that your potential prospects would like to do business with, because this is what your sales reps are going to be selling, and this is what ultimately your sales reps are going to work with. And there's two fundamental areas that's important on. So we've got, of course, Google in terms of your own brand name, and then the other area, depending upon the product, is if we go now to open up a new tab and we head over to YouTube, and I turn off this tool and we head over to YouTube, you'll see that if we search, for example, thanks, I'm doing this all in incognito so you can see. If we do this all on YouTube as well as Google, then you'll see that ultimately there's a lot of content here. As you can see, people also watched, and then you can also see a lot of our videos here. So these are the things to really consider from an online perspective when you're thinking about having a brand that's ready, that ultimately a sales professional can connect with. Within that, you've got reputation management, so the reviews that people have about your business. So if you go back to all, you'll notice the Google reviews here, you'll notice the reviews there, and so on and so forth. You've got, of course, coverage. You've got some video to identify this is a real brand, a real business, and all of those elements. And then alongside that, what are you doing in terms of sales collateral? Do you have a demo of your product? Do you have some scripts that potentially your salespeople can use? Do you have any evidence of previously recorded calls? Do you have a onboarding form? Do you have a payment processor that they can connect with? So there's all of these elements that comprise ultimately the whole effectively sales funnel that you want to enable your sales professional to work with, and that's where it becomes really important. And many of those things do not relate to the fact that we're a digital agency or Commission Crowder, for example, a business with an online presence. You've got to think about both sides of it. So there's the brand stuff that you can see, but then there's the proposals, and then there's the contracts, and then there's the NDAs, and then there's SMS follow-up messaging, there's booking calendars, there's slide decks, there's objection handling, and all of the literature that a sales professional will need to really make your business skyrocket. So don't just rely on them to build a brand new company from the ground up. Do build all of those sales collaterals as well as online materials, and you'll be that much more successful.